When are the dominoes going to stop falling? When are these exchanges going to stop going down? When are they going to stop filing for bankruptcy? I don't have all the answers, but I do know one thing. Not your keys, not your crypto. In today's KuCoin DigiDive, we're going to go ahead and give you guys some updates with Voyager, with BlockFi, and we're also going to go over a couple of exchanges that, well, said sayonara. If you guys are new to the KuCoin YouTube channel, make sure you guys smash up that like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification. That way you guys are notified every time we make a new one. There's also a link in the description below so you guys can get 20% off trading fees. Let's go ahead and talk about the domino that started this all. This is Three Arrows Capital. Three Arrows Capital filed for bankruptcy. This was actually behind the UST Luna correction. So I guess you can kind of say that was the very first domino. But the systemic risk came from Three Arrows Capital. Now, the reason why you have systemic risk involved when one person goes down is because of this chart right here. In a normal lending situation, what happens is you have lenders. These would basically be people depositing into the bank. The pool, you can consider this the bank. And in place of the term the bank, you can put Voyager, you can put BlockFi, you can put Celsius, you can put Vauld, you can put any of these different exchanges. Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. So then this bank decides to give a loan out. The reason it's doing this is if you read in all the terms and conditions for these different exchanges, they say, hey, look, we're issuing you a stablecoin in exchange for your money, and at any given time, depending on the exchange you're going with, you have to read each of the terms and conditions. They say, hey, we can go ahead and earn interest on this money. Now, that interest doesn't come without risk. Now, the bank understands that going in, but you may not understand that as a user. You're just giving up your funds, and you think, it'll be okay. There's no problems at all. So when the bank lends out the money through a loan to any of the other borrowers, they basically have the funds now. So the borrower has the funds, he can do whatever he wants with it, which in this case, this would be like Three Arrows Capital. Three Arrows Capital was one of the funds that actually borrowed from Voyager. They borrowed from a couple of exchanges, but we're just talking about Voyager in this scenario. So when bankruptcy is filed by Three Arrows Capital, you now have things like OSNAP. Voyager now has some outstanding debt. They have a loan that was given out and it's not able to be repaid because Three Arrows Capital is filing bankruptcy. Hence why you have a domino effect of this with Voyager. So Voyager says, okay, this is not good. We're in debt and we got users withdrawing funds because they're scared of what's going on. We need to lower our withdrawal limits. So we're going to go ahead and go to 10 grand. This is the very first sign that you were given. There were multiple signs for other exchanges as well, and sometimes you may not get a sign. So you won't always have a sign in advance, similar to this where they lower withdrawals, but you may get a sign like, hey, we're processing withdrawals as normal, even despite all the market conditions and volatility, our withdrawals are being processed as normal. Now, yes, I mean, you could say 50% of the time, this is just a normal statement and there's nothing wrong with it, as long as they have the cash to pay out users when they withdraw. That's normally not an issue. The point I'm trying to make is, why would you take on that risk? Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. You're only at risk when you don't have your crypto. So Bitcoin on an exchange is not Bitcoin. It's literally just a credit on an exchange. When you have that Bitcoin in your wallet, well, now you actually hold custody and have the Bitcoin. So going back to Voyager, this is the very first sign. This was issued on June 23rd. We're going to go ahead and slash our daily withdrawal limit from 25K to 10K. Then you have another tweet which follows up on July 3rd. Actually, this is probably July 2nd. Voyager halts trading, deposits, and withdrawals. This is due to the systemic risk from Three Arrows Capital. So now if you got your money in here, it's roasted. A lot of people are like, hey, I got hopium, it's going to come back, it'll never go out. Then you have to factor in OSNAP. They just filed for bankruptcy today. Now, usually in a bankruptcy process, these are 2 to 3, 4, these are long-term processes. In fact, some people from Mt. Gox, the exchange that went bust back in the day, still do not have their Bitcoin that they lost then. Sure, it could have been pocket change for someone then. Like if they had 10 Bitcoins back then, it does not cost near as much as it does now. But that hurts. If knowing that you just had that money inside your wallet, you would still have the Bitcoin today. It just kind of sits in like, what the snap? What was I thinking? Now, Voyager's not the only one. This is another one with Vauld. Vauld pauses the withdrawals as market crash takes its toll. This just happened on July 4th. So, does this mean it's insolvent? Does it mean it's going to go bankrupt? As always, time will tell. We'll see what happens. But if you scroll down in this article, this was a statement that was made in June 16th. The company continues to operate as usual, despite volatile market conditions. They also continue to say, withdrawals were being processed as usual and will continue to be the case in the future. What? What happened? What happened 18 days later? Why are we still not processing withdrawals? This is just something to keep in mind, guys. These exchanges, if they have your money, you don't have it. It's theirs. They have your money. You just have a credit. If they go bankrupt, there's nobody you can go after. Another example of this is BlockFi. Now, BlockFi didn't halt its withdrawals. However, it removed free withdrawals. Could this potentially be a sign? As always, time will tell. But this is what they state. Here's what we know. One other red flag, to me at least, is BlockFi increased its deposit rates. How in the world are you increasing your deposit rates? Are you just going into a yield farm nobody knows about? Well, I don't know if you checked last, but the DeFi rates are way down. So with something like this, I'm not saying they're doing it, but this leads me to think that what's happening on the back end is it could potentially be using the user's money to pay other users. But if that's not the case, maybe they are farming with it. Me personally, I would rather not take that risk. Remember, not your keys, not your crypto. So just because they increase rates doesn't mean it's something you should chase after. Increasing the rates are great and all, as long as you can cash out and have the funds. Now look, hang on. Getting the highest interest rate is always a fun thing to do. But here's the risk that you need to factor in. If you're earning a 5% yield on your Bitcoin, in about, I would say less than 20 years with compound interest, we could just call it 16 or 17 years, you would double your money. However, you have to factor in, what if 2, 3, 4 months go on and that exchange halts withdrawals? You lose everything. So the risk to reward ratio on that is not favorable. The most important point I want to share with you guys and leave with you at the end of this video is not your keys, not your crypto. If you have your funds with other institutions, you do not own them. Bitcoin on an exchange is not Bitcoin. The ethos of Bitcoin is having a permissionless money. Last I checked, halting withdrawals is not permissionless. In fact, that's permission. If you guys have idle assets being stored on an exchange, just give it a second and a third and maybe a fourth thought. What if it closes down? What if they halt withdrawals? What if you lose everything? Would you be okay with that? If you're okay with that, you do what you want. Last thing I want to leave you with is what will happen if another one of these exchanges go down. These usually are interconnected and intertwined with each other. What I mean by this is, let's say, for example, we have company BlockFi, and BlockFi lends its money out to, let's say, Three Arrows Capital. Three Arrows Capital goes bust. That money that they expect to be coming in as income was going to be used to pay out their loans. Now, let's say, for example, BlockFi goes bust. Well, the company that was lending to BlockFi would now go bust because they don't have those funds coming in. Unless they have other income coming from other sources. But if not, and they don't have enough income to sustain that bad debt, then they could go bust. And now whoever's interconnected with their company could potentially go bust as well. That's how these domino effects occur. Go ahead and hit you guys with a wisdom one-liner. Proverbs chapter 13 verses 10. Where there is strife, there is pride, but wisdom is found in those who take advice. Sometimes those guys with gray hairs always have some good advice. Something to keep in mind. Thanks for watching this KuCoin DigiDive. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys smash up the like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification. Also, anyone who leaves a comment in the description below will have a chance to win a free ticket to the GeckoCon. So if you guys would like to attend, make sure you guys leave a comment in the description below. Tell me what you guys thought of the video. We'll see you guys on the next KuCoin DigiDive.